Welcome back to Tone's Garage, and today we're going to be working on this 8 horsepower Briggs Stratton generator, which it doesn't run mainly because this pull cord is out and it was everything's stuck on it, and I'm pretty sure this thing, if I remember correctly, has been sitting for 8 years. And well, since everything was stuck on it, I did get this open at a while ago just to see how it was for the gas tank, which it looks pretty bad in my opinion, because there's a bunch of junk and all that in it. But oil cap or oil fill right down here was stuck, and then this was stuck, but with a pair of vice grips you just try to grip onto it and then try to twist it, because vice grips are universal. And after doing that, I got all of it unstuck, and I'm gonna try to get this working. First thing I need to do is pull off this bolt right here, and also right there, and then there's 2 more underneath. So, and these bolts are 7/8, or not 7/8, wrong thing, 7/16, as it says right on my ratchet. I don't know if it says 7/16, and I'm gonna loosen these bolts, which is gonna take a bit. Now this video I feel like is more like fixing stuff than it is what I was doing in the other one. I might need I just got my ratchet stuck on this handle that's on here, which I don't know how I'm gonna get it to go the other way. Yeah, dang. That's fun. It's been a little bit, and I got my ratchet unstuck, so... Oh, well, socket's still kind of on there, but I had to take off the handle, which was 2 7/16 bolts that were right there and right there, which I think you have to pull that off before starting to do anything else. But I got this one bolt out, which there's another one right there, and then yeah, the other 2 that are down there. So I'm gonna pull those off real quick after figuring out that I got stuck. One thing I figured out, which it's been a little bit, but for me to get access to this bolt, I had to pull this metal plate which held the handle, which I should have just taken this entire thing with the handle on it, instead of just taking the handle off, because it would have been easier. But the main reason why I didn't do that was because I thought these studs which hold this head on were gonna come out, which they didn't, because the stud has a jam nut system right there, so when you spin it, it doesn't come loose, which in my opinion is very nice, because that would have sucked if I had to try to figure out the torque specs on this, because I don't know what it would be, but there probably is a little bit of information online about it. Okay, so I got all the bolts out, but it's still stuck. But how it's stuck, it seems like it's stuck on this gas tank, so I might try to unbolt it, which either way I gotta do it, because there's old gas in it, or not really, it's more like rust, so I'm gonna have to clean it out, so I gotta take it off either way, so I might as well do it now than later. So I'm gonna do that, which it requires a Phillips screw, or not Phillips, flathead screwdriver screw, thing for like a hose clamp system that's down here. Right there, which there's one right over here and right there, and like here's a flathead screwdriver. Now I don't know if this is gonna come out, which seem like it's going to. Probably could use a little bit of oil, but actually that works pretty well. Dang. Yeah, I'm gonna have to do it to the other side though, so I'm gonna turn off this camera and keep on doing this. Okay, so I got the tank loosened. Now this one is a bit tighter still, but like, it's loose. It's not wanting to move still, but like, I think what I can do though is get a flathead screwdriver, shove it in like this pocket right here, and maybe pull it out, because I don't think it's actually attached at all. I think it's literally just like wedged in between this from dirt. Yep. That's a lot of stuff in it. No wonder why this thing didn't like retract. Wow. It was like, that's a lot of rust. Huh. Yeah, I think what I'm gonna have to do is maybe get some sandpaper and sand off like this a bit, because there is a lot of rust, and I don't think this thing's gonna run like it is. Which, one thing I didn't say is these two bottom bolts down here, I struggled to pull them out, which makes sense why it was so hard to pull out, was because all that stuff was sitting in the bottom and making it rust. So I'm gonna try to fix this first and then clean up all the rust on it on this, which actually this looks pretty good. Now I don't think the engine's gonna have spark at all, mainly because there's so much junk, but unlike rust. After I clean it up though, it should work. Definitely, spark might work. The engine's not gonna run because this gas tank needs to get cleaned and it has no gas in it. And I think it needs oil because it dumped it all over the place. Yeah, so I'm gonna do that, so it's been a little bit. I cleaned up a little bit. I cleaned up this and this wire that leads to like a coil pack that also leads to like the engine alternator kind of thing, and I cleaned up this top of the spark plug. And after doing so, I have spark, and which means that the engine is firing like it's supposed to. So, which I should probably show that. Screwdriver. This is a very dumb like setup thing, but it works, so I'm not gonna complain at all. So there should be, like, between those 2 points, there should be a little like blue spark. As you can see, you could see the spark of the engine. It was like the little blue thing that formed in between the screwdriver and then the spark plug, which means that this has spark, and now I gotta put this cover back together, and then I have to start with the fuel system. Yeah. Which I gotta take off the tank, and one thing I realized when trying to take off the tank earlier is this hose is like literally as hard as a rock, which is nuts because like it's not even pinchable from how hard. But I guess I'll have to start on it and keep on working. Okay, so it's been a little bit. I got the tank off, which is right there, and then that's where the tank was. And one thing I don't think I mentioned, but this thing was sitting outside, so like when I got it was, so it's a decent bit rusty. So like there's rust that was behind the gas tank and all that, which if I had paint or something like that, I'd paint it, but I don't have any right now. And there's like a decent bit of corrosion on the tank, like over here and over there, which I'm pretty sure they put everything together and painted it like they did from the factory, so it's not like every single spot's painted, so it's all over the place. But I took off the fuel line, and as I expected, the fuel line is as hard as a rock, and like it's standing straight up, like it should not do that but it's so hard to the point where it will not like move at all. I don't know if it's like clogged or not. It doesn't seem like it is. So I might be able to still use it. Probably not the best idea to use that fuel line, but it's what I got, and hopefully it works. If I absolutely need to, I will install a metal line in place, but I gotta use what I got because I'm too cheap to go buy something new. So I think what I'm gonna do next is maybe try to clean this tank. But like also one thing I don't think I mentioned is this like fuel cutoff is stuck. So I'm gonna have to get like a pair of vice grips or pliers to stick right there and twist on it to loosen it, which is fine because I have a tiller that does the same thing. Which I guess I might as well do this on camera for this. Oh, there's a seal right there, so I might have to put a new seal in this, but it's not horrible. I can actually spin it by hand compared to my tiller, or whenever you want to turn on the fuel. You gotta have a pair of vice grips, but replacing that seal shouldn't be super hard, or in my opinion it shouldn't be. But the fuel was cut off, so that might be why that fuel line isn't like collapsed. So since it's not collapsed, I think I can actually use it, which in my opinion is good. For other people, they'd probably just go buy a new one, but use what you got and try to save a little bit of money, or that's what I do. Is it good to do it? Definitely not. So tip, go buy the right stuff. I'm just too cheap to buy the right stuff. Okay, so one thing I just figured out with the fuel system. So if I dumped gas in this, literally the engine will not get any because it's clogged, which here's a good example of it being clogged. So I am shining the light right into the gas tank back here, and you cannot see it at all through this hole, and you should be able to see it perfectly fine. But it is so like filled up with junk you cannot like see through it. And also the same with this piece. If I shine light through it, or you can see a little bit of light through it, but you should be able to see it like clear as day through the tank and through this, which is nuts how clogged it is. So what I'm gonna do is get a little screwdriver and push it out for this junk. Which okay. Yeah, so that's a lot of junk that's in there. Now, you can see through that, but you cannot see like through that, which I think I did, yeah, like that's how it should look. But, yeah, there's just a lot of junk, which I gotta finish taking out all of that stuff. All the junk that is from gas. When it sits, it separates, and then it makes like a bunch of like particles and all that, which like end up normally in the bottom of the tank and will basically clog up everything. Which, since it happens, it like always will clog your fuel system and all that. So you gotta like clean out, like for a carburetor for like a lawnmower, is people will let it sit like over the winter and the gas will separate, and then it will start to like clog up the carburetor, which then will make it so it doesn't get fuel. But like I just cleaned that up real quick, and now you can see like right through it, which like I'm gonna have to probably get some brake clean and spray a bunch of it in like the gas tank and the nozzle, and hopefully that works to get like any extra little junk out. And I think after I'm gonna try to run a little bit of fuel, or not fuel, because I gotta clean up the tank still, and after I'll try to run some fuel hopefully through the system. There might be junk in the system though, I'll find out later, because I do not want to have to take apart that this carburetor over here, because that's a lot of work in my opinion, and I have to be careful of a certain gasket that's like in between this and this top part, which I don't have a rebuild kit at all, so I just want to skip out on having to rebuild it. Laziness happens, but hopefully it works. Okay, so I cleaned out the gas tank. I used some nails, which you're supposed to use rocks, but nails actually worked pretty good. But to me, this looks better than what it did before, because before you could like see so much like junk and all that in the tank, which there's still some stuff, but it's not bad. Like there's little like rust, but it's not like loose rust. It's built-in rust that's in the metal. So it's not as bad as like big chunks of it getting into the engine. So next, I think what I gotta do is install it onto the engine and hook up the fuel line, dump some gas in it, and then maybe check out the air filter and add some oil, because I know that the oil is low, and yeah, put it all back together, call it good, and try it out, see what happens. I don't know what's gonna happen with the generator part though, because if I get it running, I don't know if there's like oil or something that needs to go into it to help like lubricate bearings. But because I know it's an electric motor. Motors shouldn't have like oil necessarily, but some do. And then outlets and all that. So find out in a couple minutes. Okay, so I'm gonna take off the air filter now. I got the gas tank on, it's secured well. So what I gotta do is just take off this wing nut, and which used to be stuck, and now I can like loosen it by hand, which now it's off. Okay, I got that cover off. Ugh. Now I did check this at some point in time, but it looks worse than what I remember. It being inside, I'm pretty sure is pretty good, but I also think it's covered in some oil, which is not the best thing for an engine. Engine air filter. So yeah, and it's covered in like spider webs and all that. So I'm gonna put that right there just to keep that good. But oh yeah, that's dirty. I'm pretty sure this thing was set on its side, so like oil and all that went up the engine and destroyed the filter, and I don't know what to do because I don't know if I can easily get one of these filters. Dang. Might just try to clean it up and try to use it, but that's probably not the best idea. But there is oil, which could maybe help the engine cylinder out a little bit. I don't know. I'll just clean it up. So I'm gonna come back in a minute to clean it up, and yeah. Try to clean it as well as I could. It's still definitely not good, but I guess it's good enough for now. After I get it running, then I will try to maybe get a new one, which would be nice, but I don't know where to find one at, because, well, yeah, I don't know. I guess I could look on Amazon or, what is it, Walmart's website thing? I don't know. See if they have any, but I don't think so. Maybe Lowe's or Home Depot. Questions I really don't know. Okay. So I got the air filter on. One thing I figured out though is on this air cleaner lid, it tells you like oil and all that, which it's interesting that they give you that, in my opinion, because it helps. Also, just to let you know, it says mark on dipstick. There is literally no dipstick. I think the dipstick fell in the engine. Well, that's not good. I don't think. Or I know that's not good, but I'll figure something out. See if I see it. Okay, that's good. Next, I probably have to add gas, but I'm gonna hold off for now. Check everything over, make sure everything's good and all that. Or I'll do that off camera, because there's a lot to check. But actually, no, hold on, think about it. So here's one dipstick, which This one does not have an oil fill level thing. It should be like right there, I'm pretty sure, but I'm pretty sure it fell. And then on the other side, it's the same thing. If I can get this cap back on. There we go. Okay, so there's the other one, and that doesn't have it either. But it like is low from a different dipstick that I have. So I'll just try to find some oil that I got and put it in it. Okay, now time for the startup. I gotta turn on the fuel. Okay, fuel's on. Okay. And it runs. I'm gonna add this other thing because, yeah. It's spinning the fan, but it's not wanting to stay running.